Hey, James, you know what really burns my ass today?
No, I have no idea what burns your ass.
A flame about that high. That's what burns my ass today.
That really burned my ass, too. Hi, my name is James.
I'm Les.
And we're a couple of toxic males, and welcome to Toxic Male Manifesto.
Yes, welcome. Today we're going to talk about some manly things. We're going to talk about my tool selection of the week. We're going to talk about something that men need to be aware of, which is debt. And we're going to talk about some current political issues that concern both James and I. So let's get started.
All right. Wait, aren't we going to talk about football?
Yeah, I don't think so. Everyone's talking about football. I don't really care about football. I stopped watching it.
Yeah, ever since they decided to kneel for the national anthem, me and Dad have both made our own little protest of not watching football. They're allowed to kneel for the national anthem, and we're allowed to not watch. That's pretty much what it boils down to.
Yeah, I used to be a Raiders fan, but they keep moving around. I can't even figure out where they are anymore. And I think they're going to Las Vegas now, I've heard. So, personally, football, it's not even a sport that I'm concerned about anymore. Tomorrow, when the football game's on, I'm going to be at my son-in-law's place.
We're
visiting my grandson.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks. Welcome. So, what we're going to talk about today is fake news. That, for me, it's an issue. And the reason it's an issue is because it's on the media. It's on LinkedIn. It's on Facebook. It's on the news. Not reporting news is fake news. But I'm so sick and tired of the right, which I'm part of. Something like, the Silent Majority, which is a website that I look at a lot. Friends I have on LinkedIn. You get a right-wing post, and the right-wing post is trying to make the left look bad. Well, here's a recent example. Ruby Dahlia. I don't know if anybody here knows who. She was a member of Parliament in the Canadian government. Mm-hmm. Now, somebody posted a mime or an actual picture of her and says that she's attempting to have legislation passed to make it so that immigrants can get a Canada pension after only 3 years. Everybody piled on, reposted it, it went viral. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I went, okay, I'm going to check this out. I checked it out. Guess what? Ruby Dahlia has not even been a member of Parliament since 2011. The picture was more than 10 years old. That was something was brought up in 2009, was voted out, never even made it to the floor. You know, why are we going and stirring up immigrant hatred and immigrant resentment against something that's more than 10 years old? It's not even on the radar. So let's go and, stir stuff up. No, let's talk about the truth. So what's the truth? Let's fact check it. If you want to post something, you see something on Facebook, you see something on LinkedIn, you see something anywhere. If you see it on there and it stirs up emotions, and fact check it. Is this true? Because if it's not, aren't we falling into the same track we accuse the Liberals of? Really? That's my point.
So did Ruby Dahlia make the post, or was she the post?
She was in the picture of the post.
Okay, so who posted it?
It was on a friend of mine, but I also saw it on a couple other right-wing medias because they picked it up. And without fact-checking it, they just reposted it.
I also thought it was true. And I posted it, and then you told me it wasn't true, so I deleted it.
Yeah. So, we look stupid when we post fake news and we get caught for it. Today, somebody posted something. It was a picture with a cropping. And the cropping is a picture of refugees that are being rescued from the water, presumably somewhere in the Mediterranean. And then the cropping is of a larger picture, and there in the water of the larger picture is a man standing up. And the caption reads, "Don't you hate it when some idiot just stands up in the middle of a set you're setting up?" And then I looked at that, and I posted on there, where'd this come from?
I think
who posted it, what news media posted it, nobody knows. So I think it might have been just a picture somebody put in there. I'm not really sure.
I think one of the most popular ones that I've seen around all over the place is CNN made a picture where they were at a feminist rally, and they had a bunch of Muslim women, and they crowded them all around the camera so that there was like looked like there was a lot of people there, but the only people at the rally were in the picture. So they made it look like there was a lot more people than there actually was.
Well, apparently they did that for Donald Trump, too. So, the fake news
is coming They did that for
sides.
Hillary Clinton. They did that for Hillary Clinton. If you look at some of her campaigns when she was campaigning for president, she was in a school gymnasium, and the gymnasium was like half filled or 3/4 of the way filled, and they only showed you from where the people stopped. They didn't show you the whole gymnasium. And then if you look at Donald Trump's campaigns, he was selling out whole basketball stadiums, like 20,000 people. And they were only showing you him. Only him. They weren't showing you the whole stadium because they didn't want the public to see there's 20,000 people supporting Donald Trump.
But my whole point today is that not only does the left use fake news to stimulate emotions, well, the right's doing it too. And we need to stop. What we need to do is use facts, figures, and numbers, statistics. We need to be able to answer when somebody says, well, where did this come from?
Well,
who said this? Where did this come from? Sources. When you publish stuff, publish your sources.
So what's a good website that we should use to be able to fact check our stuff?
Well, I use an assortment. I will go and check Snopes, and I will check other fact checking, and then I check their fact checking to make sure that it actually jives. So I'll look at multiple sources, sometimes 6, 7, 8 different sources. And sometimes you have to go beyond Google or Bing and see if you can find the information somewhere else.
I've personally found that there are some fact-checking websites like Snopes and Times Magazine and other assorted sites like that usually also are skewing the facts and skewing the reality as well. One of my favorite YouTubers, you can find him here on YouTube, Coffee and Nonce. He does a great breakdown of a lot of different Snopes fact-check things, and they are just so factually wrong. So they'll take like a statement that Trump says, and they will skew it into their own reality, when in reality that's not even close to what Trump said or what anybody said. So he's a great website to look at. He fact-checks the fact-checkers. I usually try to go to Coffee and Nonce if I want to find something like that.
Okay, so now something else that people have been telling us, what we heard from the first video, some of the feedback was that our videos are a little bit too long. So what we're going to try and do is shorten things up too. Yeah. So let's move on because we kind of beat down.
We're going to cut this into a couple parts, and we'll put it on a podcast so that you can listen to the whole thing. It'll be just the audio, so you can listen to the whole thing if you want to while you're at work or while you're in your car. But the video will cut into 2 or 3 videos so that you have each segment in a separate video.
Yeah. So today we're also going to talk about NASCAR, but if you don't want to listen to NASCAR, then just cut it out.
Yeah, we'll have a video up on our other YouTube channel called Toxic Male NASCAR. You can find it there. We're going to talk about our predictions for the top 20 drivers in the NASCAR field this coming season. If you want to listen to that, you can there.
Today we're going to talk about a new tool that I have. Actually, it's not a new tool. I've had this one for a long time, but I've been using it quite a bit this week. Anyway, I'm going to show you a new tool.
What tool you got there, Dad?
I have something called a fine saw.
What the heck is a fine saw?
Fine saw is a multi-tool, but fine just happens to be the brand. Sometimes when I'm using certain kinds of tools, I have to have the best one, and fine just happens to be the best, in my opinion. This is how you sit. You open up the little clip, grab yourself a blade. This particular blade here cuts wood, and you can cut light metal with it.
How thick do you think you can cut of steel?
Probably flashing with this.
So nothing thicker than flashing, you say?
You can get different blades for it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You can get other kinds of blades. This particular blade here is for light gauge metal and wood. Okay. So now you just grab yourself a piece of wood. This happens to be sitting right here. This is hardwood. I got this piece of wood off a piece of furniture that we just finished scrap. It's probably alder. But anyway, fine saw just goes like so. Let's say you wanted to cut something really, really tight. So it's way down at the bottom here. Make sure that it's showing. So you got your fine saw sitting here.
Yeah.
Right. Piece of wood. Maybe I want to make a cut right there at the bottom. So I just made a cut right at the very bottom, like in the bottom 1/8 inch of this piece of wood. This thing here. So I when you're doing really, really hard to do stuff, let's say you want to do some carving something else with this thing, you can also get other attachments with it.
Well, what else could you do with that?
Reach into the bag there and grab me what's in there. That's pretty cool. That's a sanding disc. So you can take the sanding disc, put it on just as easily. Okay, it's on the saw now. So you get this into a really tight corner. It's a pretty handy tool to have.
Oh, that's
anyway,
cool.
That's called a fine saw. It's F-E-I-N. There's lots of other. Makita makes one. I know Canadian Tire has one. I know a few of the other brands have one. For me, the fine saw is the way to go. Anyway, so that's the tool of the day. What do you think, James?
I think that's actually pretty cool. So, what have you been using it for this week?
I was using it inside the rafters, and I have to cut this little tiny groove at the top so I can slip insulation in. What I'm going to do is I cut a big enough groove so I can put a straw from the styrofoam insulation in there. I'm going to inject styrofoam insulation, and then once I've injected the styrofoam insulation, then I'm going to put a small piece of trim over top of the small crack that was up there. And you won't ever know I had to do it. So that's a pretty cool tool. Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about today is about manliness. And one of the important things about being a man is that we manage our finances properly. Now that means that we do not use debt as a method to make our budget stretch. What we need to do is we need to figure out how to use debt and credit as a method to make us more successful.
Okay.
So, credit cards, it's fine to have a credit card. And the reason why you need a credit card is you can't reserve a hotel and you can't rent a car. You can't do a lot of stuff. When you go online and you want to get tickets for something, you have to have a credit card. I want to register for the Vancouver Sun Run. We need a credit card. So, you do need to have a credit card.
Yeah, I wanted
or
to.
two.
Yeah, you have to have it I wanted to reserve a spot to go-karting with my friend tomorrow, but you need to have a credit card. And it kind of puts you in a weird bind, but what should you use a credit card for, and what should you not use it for? Like, where's the line?
Well, for
your
me,
mind?
The line is this. If you're using your credit card to buy something you don't need, but you'd like to have, we should be saving money to have things we like to have. If you want a new Ski-Doo, you want a new quad, you want a new something, you should be paying for it from money that you've saved and bought.
So you should only use the credit card if you currently have the money to pay for it.
That's right, and pay the credit card off.
So not that you pay off the credit card in 2 months or a year or whatever. You pay it off immediately.
Or if you've got a plan to pay it off. Let's say that you just got a new raise, and now you got an extra $600 a month after-tax income. You want to go ski-dooing with your best friend, so you buy a ski-doo, but you make a plan. You're going to take that $600 a month that you just got a raise of, and you're going to put all of that money onto the credit card over the next 6 months to pay for, or your loan to pay for the ski-doo.
I don't agree with that, because you shouldn't base something off of what you're currently making, because that might not be the future in 2 or 3 days even. Like, what happened to me, for example, is I was basing all of my financing off of the raise that I had just gotten at my new job as a welder. And then a few days later, the company I was working for went bankrupt. And I didn't have a job anymore. And now I had to take a massive pay cut to go to a different job now. And I was making $4 an hour less, but I was still trying to maintain the living style and the spending style of the $20 or the $22 an hour job. But I wasn't making that money anymore, but I had already started that lifestyle and started that spending spree, and I couldn't maintain it anymore. So I don't think you should base something off of what you are currently making, because who the hell knows what's going to happen in the next day.
So what I'm hearing you say, and this is pretty interesting because I don't know if I taught him this, but he's obviously learned it. Don't spend money you're expecting to get because you may not get it.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? You know, how many of us borrow money and go and get equity loans on our homes and stuff like that on money that we believe we're going to get? What happens if one of the spouses loses their job? What happens if a recession comes around? How many people lost their houses in 2008?
Lots of people.
Thousands and thousands and thousands.
It was a huge problem.
You know, I personally believe we have another recession around the corner. So let's get back to debt. Debt for me, and what the Bible says, is it calls lending money usury. And debt is considered bondage. So here's what happens. When you borrow money, you're in bondage to whoever it is you borrowed the money from, or whatever institution. And they're going to hold whatever you put up for collateral. And if that's just your good name, that's what you put up for collateral. That's what they are going to take should you not be able to pay. And like James said, your job could be gone. So what happens? You can't pay your bills. You know, bankruptcy is an option. But you know, it's a pretty sad option because once you declare bankruptcy, you're not going to have any credit for probably 7-8 years. Without credit, how do you buy a home?
How do you buy a new car?
Yeah. So basically, well, you can always buy a car. There's lots of places that will give you an overpriced car with an expensive mortgage financing, and you can get that car no problem.
Yeah, and
guaranteed.
I see way too many men my age that see these fancy new trucks at the dealerships, and they walk in and they say, "Oh, I have a good job right now, and I don't have the money right now," but they get like 20% interest rates on their car, and they don't have to pay it off right now. They pay it off in 12 years. And that's the nice thing about these deals, but that really bites you in the ass in a year or two when you are like, shit, I just lost my job, I have this fancy expensive truck, and it's breaking down, and I don't have the money to pay for it to get fixed, and I barely have enough money to pay for the interest rate on the car I just bought. Now it's like $700 a month.
Well, there's two reasons why I don't like to have newer cars. One, I don't want to pay for them because I'm a cheap person. Secondly, I like to work on my own vehicles. And when you pull a brand new vehicle off the lot, it has to go to the dealership to be serviced. It has to go to the dealership to get oil changes. Yeah. It has to go to the dealership to be done anything. Now, I don't even get to work on my own vehicles. And, you know, I don't consider that really a task. I consider that, something that's kind of enjoyable.
Sort of what you just have to do. You just work on your cars because that's what you got to do. You got to get it done. At the end of the day, if you don't work on your car, you don't go to work.
Well, today, later on, I'm going to be pulling the rear wheel off and changing the wheel cylinder on the right rear of my pickup truck. That truck's got 450,000 kilometers on it. Still starts when I put it in, turn the key, and still moves when I put it in gear. What more can you ask from a truck?
If you look on our Facebook or Twitter, it's the red 1995 Ford F-150. I posted a picture of it about a week ago. You can go and take a look at it if you really want to see exactly what Dad's talking about. So if you like this video and you wanna see more of this, you gotta go down and subscribe for more. Hit the little bell notification so that you will be notified when we have more videos come up. Usually we post them about every week, but if there's something happening, we'll post maybe more than one a week. We have another channel called Toxic Male NASCAR, where we're only going to talk about NASCAR and other NASCAR assorted things. We have a Facebook page. If you like, there's going to be a link in the description. You can go on there. You can chat with us. Me and Dad are both going to be on there. And you can post anything you'd like to that page. You can comment on the stuff that we post. The Facebook page is called Toxic Male Manifesto. The link will be in the description. You can also come over to our Twitter and message us there if you prefer using Twitter better. There will be the same kind of posts on there as well. You can talk to both me and Dad on Twitter.
And if you want to make comments, and we would rather, if you're feeling bad about something we said or something, post your comments.
Yeah.
We will answer them.
Yeah, if you don't like this video, if you don't like what we're talking about, you can dislike. You can dislike the video. We'd prefer if you disliked it, if you don't agree with us. And then go in the comments and tell us why you don't like the video. Tell us why we're a bunch of idiots. Tell us why we're bigots or racist or sexist or whatever. I've heard it all. You can tell us whatever you like.
I'm going to make a plug for my favorite radio station, which is the Lars Larson Show. It's on Can't remember the radio station, but it's in Washington. Anyway, I listen to Lars Larson as often as I possibly can, and he has something on there, naysayers go first. So if you disagree with anything Lars Larson has to say, you get on the radio first. And that's the way I'd like to be. Naysayers go first. Yeah, sorry, Lars, for stealing your thing, but that's...
As of right now, we have about 100 or so viewers every week. If you make a comment of any sorts, we'll make sure, or a question, we'll make sure that we answer it and talk about it in the next video. No matter what it is. Because right now we probably only have a few people commenting things.
Anyway, and another thing is I also write fiction. So my latest work that I've published was The Rapacious Creditor. And basically it's a fiction of what possibly could happen based on sovereign debt. Now, we're going to talk in a later episode about sovereign debt. For me, it's a huge problem. Anyway, and it's posted on Google Play Books. It's called The Rapacious Creditor.
There'll be a link in the description where you can go and purchase his book if you like. And you have other books that are coming out pretty soon, too, that they can...
Yeah, I've got 2 more episodes or 2 more books of the same Rapacious Creditor just further along in the book. I'm currently writing one called Not Me Too, and I've got another one on Kepler satellite. So basically, eventually you'll see them all published on Google Play Books. At this point, I've only got the one published.
When he publishes the other books, we'll make sure we talk about them in the video, and we'll make sure that there'll be a link in the description, and we'll post it to our Facebook page for you guys to go and read his books if you want to hear more of what we think and more of what we talk about.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
We're going to go and work on his truck now. Have a great day.